welcome back to the Real Countryfile. I'm currently in the Isle of Man, just stood by the Laxey Wheel, halfway up it. It is very high. I talked to a guy last night that was saying that because they've closed one of the flour mills in the Isle of Man now, there's not a lot of demand for wheat, and it's going to cost £50 a tonne to get it off the island to be processed somewhere else. There's no poultry either on the island to eat it, and if there was poultry, they'd need a slaughterhouse as well. So it's quite different challenges, despite only being, what, 30-40 miles away from the UK. Anyway, let's see what Stephen's been up to this week.
This week, the Real Countryfile, well, we've gone fishing. I'm going to find out a bit more about what's fishing got to do with farming with my mate Alan. So Alan, what a beautiful looking, idyllic I would say, lake behind us. Tell us a little bit about your business and why we're on a farm fishing.
Okay, so we run a business called Arrow Meadow Fisheries. We've got 11 lakes now, scattered around the Midlands. There's different, some of them are exclusive hire, so we hire them out up to groups of 4 anglers. They get the whole lake exclusive to themselves for different trips, 4-day trips or 3-day weekend trips. But then we've also got syndicate waters, where it's similar to a gym, so people will pay a membership and they can fish as much or as little as they want throughout the year.
So originally then, this lake would have been for the farm then, for irrigation purposes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so what we've realised is that a lot of farm owners have got irrigation lakes or reservoirs that they've used in the past, and they're not being used for any kind of income. And what we've realised is a lot of them are very afraid of fishing because of the bad name with rubbish or people drinking and stuff. So we give them that reassurance where we take over the lake, we fence them, we look after the stock, we deal with any kind of snags, silt, different issues, and we pay them a nice lease fee. We take all that pressure and worry from them, and then we deal with the bookings, the customers, the day-to-day running of it. So we're finding now that farmers are realising that extra income that can be made from having a lake.
So diversification.
That's correct, yeah.
A little bit different. And I've come down, you know, I've met you because I've come here fishing with my mates of a few days away from it. And because it's on a farm, it's really, really peaceful.
Yeah, that's right.
We have caught some fish this morning and last night at 3 in the morning. Yeah. And then before I went back to sleep at 3 in the morning, I just sat out made a brew, and it was just... It was just so peaceful. It was brilliant. And
oh, it's fantastic. And fishing has always been a big pastime in the UK, but we're finding more now. It's people that have got their own businesses or high-powered jobs, and it's that little bit of to get away from the world. Really, it's good for mental health. Get out in the outdoors. It's just a great pastime. There's nothing negative about it, really.
You're looking for more locations, is that right?
We are,
a growing company?
Yeah, we're a growing company, so we're probably the fastest growing fishery chain in the UK at the moment. From my past business experience, I'm used to dealing with contracts and leases and stuff like that, and giving these landowners that reassurance that they need, really. We've got the funding behind us as well, so we're not doing it on a shoestring, so we can afford the fencing, the proper fish stocks and things like that.
So I've got to ask you 2 things then. How much does a big carp cost to buy? Because I know how much a sheep and a cow cost, but what is it, £15? So you buy a £15?
Yeah, they're very
carp?
expensive. It's one of the 2 biggest costs, obviously the cost of the carp. So an average carp, a £20 carp is valued anything from sort of £800 to £1,500. The average ones we stock, which are C4s, you're looking at about £400 to £500. So to give you an idea, in here we've got 110 carp. So we're looking at over £100,000 worth of stock in here. But that's our own meadow as well. We take care of the insurance side. So you've obviously got that where the landowners worry about the insurance and stuff. So we just take over that site, and it's our responsibility. Then we deal with all the bookings, all the issues, if there is any, toilet facilities and things like that. So it just simplifies it for the landowners, basically. So they just agree a figure with us, they get that yearly, and then we take care of everything from start to finish.
What kind of size then? Because there'll be 1 or 2 farmers and landowners now who are thinking, oh, this sounds like a really good way of getting some income on the farm.
Yeah.
For instance, how big's this lake?
So this lake here is 1.6 acres. So I know where you're going with that. They want to know how much would their lake be worth to rent or sell.
Well,
so
or is the one that they have big enough that you could give you a call?
Yeah, that's right. So look, we're after waters and anything over an acre really. An ideal size is 2 to 3, but we have got bigger lakes up to 10 acres. And there's lots of variations in it, whether it's got a track to it, whether we've got to cut trees, the amount of work we've got to do. But to give an average figure of what we would pay, it works out around £5,000 an acre a year in lease. That's kind of an average. Some are more for different reasons, if they've already got some power there, water, or it's an existing fishery. And then others are a little bit less if you've got to do lots of work. But an average, it's about £5,000 an acre in lease we pay. Yep.
Alan, we've talked about the possibilities, the money that's available, but what are some of the big issues? Because you know, it's not just as simple as having an hole in the ground. It's not that simple.
So there's a few things that landowners need to consider. In the past, you had fishing clubs and stuff, so it would be more match fishing and day tickets. That type of fishing now has died off a lot, and it's predominantly carp fishing. So it's not a case of just opening a day ticket anymore, and you get all sorts of undesirables as well with day tickets, turning up and stealing fish and things like that for the table. And then the other two things to consider now is otters and cormorants, generally predation. So all of the lakes, because of the value of the stock, you know, you could have £100,000–200,000 worth of fish. The otters are taking them, and one otter can destroy a lake within a week. You've also got the issues of cormorants as well, so you've got lots of cormorant problems. So all of the lakes have to be fenced, and you have to think about predation, which is something that we know a lot about, as well as we work with the Angling Trust and other organisations. So the days of just having a lake or a pool on your farm and just think you can put fish in are long gone, because within a year you won't have any fish left in there. So all these factors need to be considered as well. Yeah. And
you're looking for more, so we'll put the details at the bottom, and
we need more.
Hopefully we'll get you 1 or 2, Alan. But thanks for your top tips as well. Hopefully I'll be catching a few more
slack lines.
Thanks for that, Stephen. Now, time for Angela.
Good afternoon, everybody. Now, I'm here today on a farm in Nantwich in South Cheshire, and I'm stood in a field actually looking at these drains here. Now, we all know whatever kind of farming that you're doing, whether it's arable farming or livestock farming where you need decent grass, having good drains in your fields is absolutely paramount. So I'm chatting to a farmer who's investing in putting good drains in, and just to find out why and how he's going about that. So I'm here now with Hartley, who's the farmer here. So Hartley, just give us an overview. What's happening in terms of what do you actually do on this farm?
Well, basically we grow wheat and oats.
How many acres do you have altogether?
The whole farm's 200 acres.
Okay. So you've identified that there's some parts of the field that are wet and therefore unproductive, or just not as productive as they should be.
That's it. So they're unproductive because if it gets really wet, you can't get through it with machines, and the crop dies when it's sopping wet anyway. So we decided we'd use the single farm payment before it finishes to improve the farm.
And hopefully putting decent drains in, it's kind of like a once in a generation job.
Yeah, for the last at least 40 years.
Yes.
So
I suppose in theory, any farmer that's looking sort of long-term projects, they should be putting some money aside occasionally to invest in these one-off, once in a lifetime jobs, really, shouldn't they? I suppose. Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, it just gets, the whole thing expands and it gets wetter and wetter, and you end up losing lots of land.
So I can see, obviously, we've got one pipe going in behind us. We've got a couple in front. Yeah. How many rows of pipes?
There'll probably be three rows of pipe running down the field.
Okay.
To basically through the wet areas, and that will solve the problem.
And so, on the outset, when you were sort of giving them instructions, is there like a sort of a map or a grid, or do they come and analyse the
Yeah.
The wetness?
We walked over it and had a look at it all. Then they use satellite imagery so they can actually see the areas that shows up on satellites. They can actually see where the damp areas are. So when he drew the maps up afterwards, he then put the drains through the wet areas.
Right, okay, yeah, so you can be very savvy about where you put the drains in only the places that it's needed.
That's right.
Right, well, another good use of technology in farming and making things as efficient as possible.
Yes.
Right, excellent. Well, let's go and have a chat to the drainage chap and see how things work from a practical point of view. Okay, so now we're with Doug from Hawkins Drainage System. So, Doug, this is an impressive machine. Just give us a bit of an overview. What actually does it do here?
Well, they call it a pipe layer or trencher, and basically you've got this big chain here. You think like a chainsaw that cuts the soil, produces a profile, and the pipe goes down the back end and at the back. That's like the simplest way to say it. But it's all GPSed, so every drain we do now, I'll survey it, then it will work out my optimum depth to work at. So I'll put in my minimum, what the shallows we want to be, our maximum, and what we want to be, and it will work out on a graph. So instead of the old laser, where it's just one plane, this will keep changing its grade as it goes along.
So even if the field is slightly undulating, you will actually put the pipe in so that it's got the same sort of level of gradient.
That it? So a laser will do that as well, yeah.
Right.
But the GPS takes it the next step further. And as we're doing it, the GPS is recording what we've done. So there's no measuring after. So, well, they can plough straight away, basically.
So this machine creates the hole in the ground at the right level.
Yep,
and
trench,
then so you make the trench, and then you put the plastic pipe on top of that, and then the tractor's coming along and putting stone on top.
Yeah,
is that right?
Not all jobs you put stone on, but you've got a hop at the back, and that keeps the stone a nice consistent level throughout the job.
Excellent. But so far, all's going to plan on this job, is it?
Yeah, everything's. Yeah, we've nearly got one more run to do, then we're finished really here.
Excellent.
A few and bobs, but yeah.
Very good. Right, I will let you crack on in that case then. Okay, well thanks very much for showing us around, Hartley. It's been really interesting. When are you planning to put this land back into production again, or what's going to happen next?
End of next week it'll be ploughed and sown back into wheat again.
Right, so it's wheat that will be then harvested at what time of year?
Next year.
Right, okay. Yeah, so another 12 months and then you'll be able to reap the benefits of a nice dry field overall.
Yes.
So, excellent. Right, well thanks very much.
Great.
And hopefully we will see you on the Real Country File again next year maybe.
Great.
So I'm still in the Isle of Man, bit windy on the coast here, so that's why I'm in the hotel room doing this sort of like the roundup of this week's show. Very interesting to find that there's zero unemployment in the Isle of Man, and if you think we've got labour shortages in the UK, it's even worse out here. So we've been on a guy's farm who's desperate for some staff, so if you know anyone that want to change your scenery and want to come out here working, there's a job there waiting for you on a mixed farm basically, bit of sheep, beef, arable and even pigs. So yeah, do that. Anyway, what's everyone else been up to this week? Have you had that inch of rain on Friday that we had? I've not checked the summer barley. We're going to do that this week. Hopefully it's not too flat. But yeah, let us know. Any mishaps on the farm, don't forget to send your pictures in there as well. Thanks for watching this week, and we'll see you next week.